Hello all, John here. This is my weekly reflection for the fourth Sunday of Lent. It was originally published on March the 14th of 2010. Welcome, thank you, and on deadly sins, prodigal sons, and reconciliation. Depending on which list you pull from, you may get different terminology or verbiage, but in general, the seven deadly sins are recognized as greed, lust, gluttony, envy, wrath, sloth, and pride. And living in a world such as we do that often doesn't recognize sin of any type, it's probably wise to consider these seven deadly every now and then. And right now, in the middle of Lent, seems as good a time as any. So while we're giving up coffee or ice cream or being a better person or whatever it is we're doing or not doing for the season, let's consider these seven deadly sins. Intellectually, of course. And in this consideration, let's look specifically at how such sins are manifested in today's gospel. Does the prodigal son exhibit greed? Well, here's what he says. Father, give me the share of your estate that should come to me. He puts it nicely, but it comes down to show me the money. How about lust? Per the gospel, the man squandered his inheritance on a life of dissipation. And per dictionary.com, dissipation is dissolute indulgence in sensual pleasure. Okay, put lust down too. Gluttony, see above. Envy, actually the other brother in the story I think is more guilty of envy. Wrath, also see above. Sloth, perhaps at least initially, by shirking his duties at home. And pride the same way, for sure, initially. You know, it's easy to find fault in others. I'm pretty good at it. And to prove it, I know some people who excel at it. But what does Jesus say about such things? Something about disregarding the speck in our brother's eyes until we remove the plank from our own. But none of us really want to point the spotlight inward, because when we do, we may not like what we see. At least that's how my spotlight works. So, greed, yep. Lust, me and Jimmy Carter. Gluttony, and more than food and drink, sadly. Envy, been there, done that. Wrath, at least metaphorically, I've thrown a few things across the room. Pride, yes, and for all the wrong reasons. And sloth, whatever. You know, Dante imagines special places in hell for people guilty of certain deadly sins. And surely all of our shortcomings, regardless of the severity or degree, are derived from any of these seven, with pride probably leading the way. But I saw something at the back of church the other day that gave me pause and that fits perfectly into the context of this conversation. I saw these two little kids, no older than 3 or 4, and they were trying to get into the confessional. The door was locked, there was no priest around, but that didn't stop the pair who seemed really bent on finding their way inside. The mother took them under control pretty quickly, but I found the situation just humorously profound. Here's these two innocents who don't need the sacrament of reconciliation looking to get in, while many of us who need it don't look to get in nearly enough. Father, the prodigal son said, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I no longer deserve to be called your son. The words could be my very own. Perhaps your very own as well. But today's parable reminds us that God loves the repentant sinner. He runs to him and embraces him. Let's learn from those two kids at the back of church. Let's get back into that confessional. Peace. Thanks, John.